Morning coming up here on GMA on a Thursday. We are starting with Title 42, that pandemic-era border policy is set to expire at midnight. We are live on the Mexican side of the border with the latest on the new rules also for asylum seekers. And then Congressman George Santos pleading not guilty to wire fraud, money laundering, and theft of public funds, as at least a dozen House Republicans say he should step down. And I'm here at the American Museum of Natural History. They have a brand new wing, and I'm going to bring you right inside. That and so much more on GMA.
Real quick, let's check on the morning commute out there. Checking TransGuide at I-37 and Hackberry. No problems. 410 at Parambital. We have an update on that forecast you need to see coming up after this break. Now at 16, coverage on the border as we near the end of Title 42. The new warning from Homeland Security and tougher consequences migrants trying to cross could face.
And let's look out there with live cam, the calm between the storms. We are expecting heavy rain over the weekend, but for now we are humid at 73 degrees. And we will be checking with Mike for our Thursday forecast very soon.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And a good morning to you. It is Thursday, May 11th.
Thanks for joining us. Hope you've had a good week so far and, hope you're staying dry for the most part. But this weekend, it's all about preparing for the rain.
Absolutely. A lot of you have had a busy week. Maybe you haven't had a chance to tune in. And if you're watching now, Mike Osterhage and the rest of our team, the Weather Authority team, is really spreading the word about what could be a dangerous weekend for some folks.
Yeah, flooding is definitely going to be a threat with some very, very heavy rain, especially the western half of our area. And the other thing, a lot of times when we start off 4, 5, 6 days out and start talking about something, maybe things can change a little bit, which usually happens. This has not really changed all that much. We're still kind of focusing in on Saturday as far as the day with the heaviest rain. All right, this morning we are starting off and you can you can hardly even make out the skyline right there with all that humidity, just that haze, just all that moisture hanging there in the atmosphere. We do have a little bit of fog. Beeville, 3 miles visibility, 5 Rock Spring, New Braunfels, Gonzales. So it's not real thick right now, but it will in places get thicker as the morning rolls on. There may be a little mist out there. Nothing's being picked up on radar right now, but just don't be surprised if there's a sprinkle here or there. 70s right now. These numbers are pretty much what the normal low is in the hottest time of the year, right around the end of July and first couple of weeks of August. And then we've got the humidity to boot with these dew points well up in the upper 60s, low 70s. Yeah, that's definitely greeting you when you step outside this morning. And mold is very, very high. Yesterday's count 14,000 plus. And the updated count comes out in an hour and a half. I wouldn't be surprised if that's still very high. We've got that 10% chance for a stray sprinkle or two this morning, a little mist here and there. We'll make it up to 80 at noon, some sunshine, and then top off at 87 later on today with, a stray shower, 1 or 2 of them. Now, rain chances will be a little bit better during the day tomorrow. Then the heavy rain moves on in here. We'll talk about the timing of that. That's going to be late tomorrow night through most all of the day on Saturday. And Mother's Day is still looking wet as well. And we're not done with the rain even after Mother's Day. Details in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, RJ Marquez, the man, the myth, the legend, is behind the wheel.
You know what? I like that introduction there,
Thank you.
Mike. Yeah. All right. So we're going to take a quick look here at outside of TransGuide traffic cameras as we start our 6 o'clock hour. Obviously, people out and about, maybe getting to work or taking the kids to school, getting ready, of course, for what's going to be hopefully a good Thursday morning. We take a look here at 37 Jones Avenue. Traffic moving along pretty good in this area, and 37 Hackberry. Traffic moving along smoothly there as the sun kind of, comes up a little bit here. Still a little bit dark outside. Loop 410 Parambital northeast side. Things looking pretty good there. Wanted to just quickly mention here, so our maps, things looking pretty good. We did have that stalled vehicle there on the west side, which was the westbound lanes of 90 at Gunsmoke Drive, but our map showing that has actually cleared up in this Lackland and this 410 area. We did just see this pop up on the TxDOT page, so it looks like we have a stalled vehicle there on the near northeast side on 35 and Wiedner Road, so I'll kind of just see exactly what's going on there. Again, that just popped up right as we went on air right now, so I'll check in with TxDOT and TransGuide and see if there's any major issues taking place in that area. Again, I-35 Wiedner Road. I'll give you a little bit more details as we make our way through our Thursday morning. As we take you back outside there, the upper lower levels there at I-10 at Culebra, things looking pretty good. I-10 Hackberry traffic moving along smoothly as we make our way out on your Thursday morning. Mark and Stephanie, back to you guys.
Thanks, RJ. Down power lines and broken utility poles, all due to one driver who lost control of his car, according to police.
They have arrested him on charges related to driving while intoxicated. Katrina Weber is live where all the damage was done.
It's on airport property near Isom and Sandow. Katrina, did this cause significant power outages?
It doesn't appear that it did. Now, at one point, we saw 5 homes or businesses in this area that were affected, but right now that is not the case. No outages at all. But a lot going on here for sure. Now, we have got all kinds of CPS Energy crews out here trying to fix those down lines and replace the power pole that was damaged. We also have a tow truck, as you can see, trying to somehow get that car that was the cause of all of this out of that area, that piece of airport property. It's a little bit tough to see, but I have some video to show you. This happened about 2 o'clock this morning. Now, according to police, the driver somehow lost control. It looks like he rolled over, went through a concrete wall, knocking down power lines, taking out a power pole, and that is what caused all of this trouble. We saw in the video, we saw that the driver did appear to have blood on his face, but it looked like those were minor injuries because later on police did put him through the paces that they do when they suspect that someone is under the influence or intoxicated. And then after that, we saw them place him into handcuffs and put him in the back of a patrol car that was marked DWI enforcement. So it looks like he is facing some charges related to that. But again, a big mess to clean up. This has been going on for quite a while, and it seems like CPS Energy keeps bringing more and more trucks to this area to address all of these problems. But again, from what we have seen, there were no significant power outages related to all the lines and the power poles that came down. Reporting live on the north side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. Top story this morning, the sheer number of migrants crossing could be staggering. Preparations along the border are underway as the countdown to the end of Title 42 continues.
President Biden says it's going to be chaotic at the border for a while. However, a new policy by the Biden administration will require migrant families seeking asylum to be subjected to home curfews.
KSAT's John Paul Barajas is in Del Rio. He says as the rule nears its end, people are already lining up in northern Mexico to come into the U.S.
Del Rio officials tell us there's about 29,800 potential crossers, not just in Mexico, but in or around the Del Rio sector. They're most likely going to be crossing either here, Del Rio, Laredo, or Eagle Pass. All of this, as it's said that there's more than 150,000 migrants lined across northern Mexico in either shelters or on the streets ahead of the end of Title 42.
Everybody is basically in uniform and on alert. So if something happens and the border is overcome, we're going to activate, and we're going to have everybody in the department react to it.
It's all hands on deck. Del Rio Police Chief Frank Ramirez tells us they're optimistic but preparing for the unknown of just how many migrants will cross the border once Title 42 is lifted. Currently, the leading nonprofit in Del Rio, Border Humanitarian Coalition, says they see around 300 migrants.
Our capacity right now is in the 700 range per day.
Director of Operations Tiffany Burrow asked not to be on camera. But this is where migrants who come to Del Rio are dropped off, assisted, and provided food and drink. At 2 p.m., it was empty. That's because it's not an overnight shelter. The goal here, get migrants to the next leg of their trip, sometimes San Antonio, as fast as possible.
They have one objective while they're here, and that's to finalize their transportation to their destination. It's important for them to realize that there's no overnight shelter in this city or this county.
City officials tell us they have city-owned buildings capable of turning into overnight shelters if Del Rio sees too many migrants all at once. The city and the nonprofit have also improved facilities ahead of the end of Title 42, such as electrical, plumbing, fencing, and a pavilion for shelter either rain or shine. She and Chief Ramirez are hoping for the best, but there is still concerns.
Processing from apprehension all the way to release, they're looking at about 51 hours. So they're trying to shorten that the best they can, but still, 51 hours is still a pretty good amount of time for each person.
Now, only time will tell how many migrants actually cross through the Del Rio sector once Title 42 is lifted. But local officials we spoke to said they feel the best prepared that they can be given the situation at hand. As to the nonprofit, they say if anyone can donate or wants to donate, they can do so by going to their website. We'll have a link to their website on our website, ksat.com. In Del Rio, John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
And ahead in our next half hour, Alyssa Cole will be live in Eagle Pass. And we have complete coverage on our website, plus an explainer about the end of Title 42. It's all on ksat.com. Just look for it on the homepage. The students of the Uvalde CISD are planning a school walkout today. The news coming from district officials in a letter to parents. So the walkout is being organized on social media due to the ending of Title 42 that limited the number of migrants who can seek asylum and related to the Robb Elementary math school shooting. Now, parents are told to sign their students out of school to participate in this walkout, and students who leave without permission could face suspension for 3 days.
More San Antonio area school districts are doing away with backpacks, citing safety as a reason why. Harlandale ISD and South San ISD will no longer allow students to have bags on school campuses. The policy is for both districts and goes into effect on Monday.
The city of San Antonio is moving forward with taking over a local bar. In an email sent by the city, they announced that the Moses Roses hideout on East Houston Street will be taken under eminent domain. They plan on using the space as part of the Alamo Museum and Visitor Center opening in 2026. According to a statement by the city and the Texas General Land Office, they have negotiated with the property owner, who is Vincent Cantu, offering more than double the value of his building. That amount being $5.26 million.
Topping your morning consumer news, another slowdown for inflation. Compared to a year ago, the Labor Department says prices in April were up 4.9%. That's the lowest since the spring of 2021. The drivers for higher prices include used cars, gasoline, and housing. And the new inflation numbers helped drive prices for stocks in Wednesday trading.
Airlines are still trying to get used a new post-pandemic normal. Get used to that. Midweek travel demand, which had been relatively strong, has slumped. That forced some airlines to cut Tuesday and Wednesday flights. Airlines also say they are seeking more bookings made in advance and a drop-off in ticket sales close to travel dates.
Toyota is playing catch-up in the EV race. They're now adding over $7 billion in new investments to bulk up its electric vehicle lineup. The company is aiming to ship 1.5 million electric vehicles by 2026.
Twitter is launching encrypted DMs behind a paywall. Only verified users, a verified organization or one of its affiliates, can send an encrypted DM. And there are several stipulations for being able to receive one of them. Encrypted DMs are available for free on several other platforms.
Roku offering a smart home security system that will send surveillance video to your TV. The $99 expandable system includes a keypad and hub along with window, door, and motion sensors. Customers can self-monitor their homes through the app or pay for 24/7 professional monitoring.
Time now 6:12 and 73 degrees for now.
Coming up later this morning on GMA, Cowboys legend Troy Aikman will be live to talk about what we can expect from the next NFL season and what he remembers about playing against Michael Strahan. That'll be on Good Morning America beginning at 7.
And after the break, what officials are saying is the single largest threat to our healthcare system. The shocking details of a new report.
We've already been talking about it for days, not only humidity that we're seeing this morning, but the big rain event that is coming this weekend. We'll get the latest on that forecast from Mike Osterhage coming up in just a little bit.
Welcome back at 6:16. Now to the rising cost of cyber attacks targeting hospitals across the country.
New study finds most hospitals are woefully unprepared.
ABC's Lionel Moise takes a look at the impact on patient care.
It's a growing problem for hospitals nationwide, cyber attacks. Experts say the number of attacks has doubled since 2016 and is driving up the cost of medical care for all of us. The University of Vermont Hospital Network knows the damage cyber criminals can do.
Our phones weren't working. We actually sent some staff to Best Buy to buy walkie-talkies, and we started switching over to our paper systems.
Dr. Stephen Leffler says the crisis stretched for 28 days. 1,300 hospital servers and 5,000 computers had to be wiped, a job so big the governor called in the National Guard. He says no patient data was leaked, but the impact on care was substantial.
We've had 3 years of COVID. This was much harder by a factor of 10. There were people that were scheduled for staging cancer operations, and we had to make a decision should we do it? And we did them when it was appropriate. Some we were able to delay.
Experts say hospital networks are ripe targets because they're often more vulnerable than other companies, and because hospitals are more likely to pay a ransom. In the Vermont case, the hospital ended up spending more than $50 million to resolve the attack.
A cyber attack on a hospital is not an economic crime. It is not a victimless crime. These are direct threats to patient safety and threats to life crimes.
A new government analysis finds nearly all hospitals, 96%, are operating with critical systems or software programs that have known vulnerabilities, but only 53% have a plan to address those vulnerabilities. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
All right, let's take you outside with TransGuide traffic cameras on your Thursday morning. People making their way out either to work or school here. I-37 and Hackberry, things looking pretty good in this area. I have to say that we have not had any major crashes or accidents at the moment, so that is good news. Just a couple of stalls here and there in the San Antonio area as we take a look at the citywide map. And again, things looking pretty good so far. Seeing our normal sort of traffic buildup there, 1604. People coming in from Castroville there on the far west side, but again, nothing major to speak of. The one thing that we are following right now is this stalled vehicle that's out here on the 35, the northbound lanes at Weidner Road. Again, doesn't seem to be causing much of a traffic issue right now. I was looking at some of the TransGuide traffic cameras from that area, and doesn't seem to be causing any sort of significant slowdowns right now. But something to just kind of keep in mind if you have to head out in the near northeast side, head out to sort of the Live Oak, Selma, or some of those areas there on the northeast side. 35 northbound lanes at Weidner Road. A little bit of a stalled vehicle at the moment, and we'll show you real quick the closest active camera there on the near northeast side, 35 at Thousand Oaks. And again, traffic moving along pretty smoothly here as roads are dry for now, but Mike, does not seem like things are going to be like this as we move along for the next couple of days.
No. As RJ walks over, I was going to say this, Mike. I don't think it's overstating things based on what our weather authority team is saying. If you live near or travel through a low-lying area near a creek or a river, you're going to have to be extra aware going into the end of the week and the weekend.
Yeah, Friday night starting and then throughout the day on Saturday, because we will have pockets of some very heavy rain around here. We're going to get to that in a second. First of all, this morning, roads are pretty dry. You may run into a sprinkle or two here or there, little patch of fog. Temperatures, that's the normal low in August. 1st of August, the hottest time of the year, 73 degrees. Yeah, so this is summer kind of a start this morning. We'll be close to normal later on today, 87 with more sunshine. Going to be humid. A stray shower or two can't be ruled out. I want to show you a very beautiful picture once again. There, my 2 coffee cans and a string. Wi-Fi failed me this morning. Anyway, I'll try and get to that. All right, murky start. You can just see all that moisture kind of hanging there in the air on the skyline view. And there's those few hints of fog. New Braunfels is down to 4 miles right now. Same thing, Beeville, Victoria. So you may start to see a bit more in the way of fog as we roll on over the next couple of hours. All right, here's computer model. And again, stray sprinkle, 1 or 2. Here and there, just a couple of them, count them on one hand basically today. And we will have some clouds with sunshine mixed in, sort of like yesterday. That's going to help to heat us up into the upper 80s. Tomorrow, plenty of clouds starting off and a few showers throughout the day. Then we go into the evening hours. Here comes that line of rain moving on in here, and it will continue to march its way to the east in the overnight hours. Pockets of very heavy rain can be expected with this in through the wee hours Saturday morning. Now, here's a different computer model, and this does paint things in with a broad brush, but to just kind of, take the overall view that we will continue to have these pockets. Now, this one in particular wants to try and get a bullseye right here in the southeast corner of Bexar County. That's a wait and see situation as to where the actual, bullseyes may be for some of those heavier pockets, but we will have a lot of heavy downpours. And like Mark was alluding to, if you're near any sort of streams, creeks, low water crossings, that's definitely going to be something we have to watch out for throughout the day on Saturday. Sunday, now this model takes everything, moves it on out of here. It's really dependent on what happens on Saturday as to how worked over the atmosphere it can get. Can it recover and get more of those heavier widespread showers developing? We will still, I'm not in total agreement with this at all that things are moving on out of here. We will still have more showers around on Sunday as well as potentially a couple of heavier downpours. And of course, total rain, we're looking at widespread, some 4 to 6 inch amounts, which is a bunch of rain. And the majority of this, of course, coming just on Saturday. But this is over the next 5 days with those heavier pockets mixed in as well. Severe threat tomorrow, late tomorrow, as well as on Saturday, because not only all this moisture gets squeezed out in the form of rain, but then also it makes the atmosphere very volatile. So that's why we are going to be on the lookout for some high winds as well as hail. Now, once we get past tomorrow, notice how we're right around average, well below average temperatures going into the first part of next week. Still plenty of humidity hanging around here, but we will drop down somewhat over the weekend, close to kind of a normal low temperature, and still some rain going into the first part of next week. So the forecast today, we are going to be up to 80 at noon, mostly cloudy skies, and we'll still have a little mist here and there this morning, then a stray shower this afternoon. Just can't be ruled out, but count them on one hand at most. 87 high temperature. Tomorrow, a few more in the way of clouds, a couple of showers throughout the day. Then some of that heavy rain starts to move in tomorrow night throughout the day on Saturday. And we'll still have showers and some thunderstorms around on Sunday. It's going to be a pretty wet day on Sunday, but again, the heaviest comes in here on Saturday. And still some showers, decent chance of rain Monday and Tuesday to start off next week. We'll be back after this.
Sometimes the lows of bipolar depression feel darkest before dawn. With Caplyta, there's a chance to let the light shine through and light tomorrow with the hope from today. This is a chance to let in the light. Caplyta is a once daily pill that is proven to deliver significant relief across bipolar depression. Unlike some medicines that only treat bipolar 1, Caplyta treats both bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 depression. And in clinical trials, movement disorders and weight gain were not common.
Call your doctor about sudden mood changes, behaviors, or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants may increase these risks in young adults. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Report fever, confusion, stiff, or uncontrollable muscle movements which may be life-threatening or permanent. These aren't all the serious side effects.
In the darkness of bipolar 1 and 2 depression, Caplyta can help you let in the light. Ask your doctor about Caplyta today. Find savings and support at Caplyta.com.
In this morning's GMA First Look, a miracle rescue.
We were hoping that he wasn't walking around at night and hunkered down.
8-year-old Nancy Nemi spending 2 full days in a Michigan state park, lost after separating from his family while trying to make his way back to his campsite.
My brother came out and there's no cell service out there whatsoever. So they took some time to search for him and couldn't find him. They decided they needed to give up and call for help.
That call setting off a frantic search. The state park, some 60,000 acres, almost 300 people helping.
It is very difficult terrain out there. It's hilly, it's wet, muddy. There's still spots with snow.
And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll hear from Nancy in his own words about the harrowing ordeal. With your GMA First Look, I'm Eva Pilgrim, ABC News, New York.
Title 42, a Trump-era pandemic policy on immigration, is expected to expire today. Good morning, I'm Melissa Cole, and coming up, we'll tell you how border communities are bracing for the impact.
And we are all bracing for the impact of heavy rain around South Texas in the coming days. Mike Ostrich has the latest thinking on that from the Weather Authority team. And a good morning to you. It's Thursday, May 11th.
Thanks for joining us. And yes, we are bracing for a lot of rain, but for today, it's going to get pretty hot.
It is going to be very warm out there. 73 degrees, lots of humidity. And we're already, again, looking ahead to, you said, late Friday, Saturday, maybe even into Sunday, and hunker down, stay inside kind of weather.
Mostly it's going to be on Saturday.
Okay.
And, this has been the trend all week long. Nothing has really changed that much. Also, and not to sound, like Chicken Little, the sky is falling, but yeah, this is right now shaping up to be a lot of very heavy rain in parts of the area. All right, there's somewhere in there's the skyline. This is looking from Brooks City Base up to the north, but just those murky conditions out there. 73 degrees, that's the normal low in the hottest time of the year in the first couple of weeks of August. And then you've got humidity, dew point temperatures way up there in the 70s. And so that's, may even fog up your glasses. A little bit of fog here and there, not anything too thick right now, but also just keep in mind you may run into a little sprinkly shower here or there. 70s all around the area, with the exception of Lost Maples, well above normal by 10 degrees on average, and then everybody's got dew points, upper 60s, low 70s, so it is definitely muggy and then some, and that's going to be sticking around. Mold is very, very high from yesterday's count. The updated reading will come out in about an hour, and more sunshine today. Yes, it is going to be hot, but only a couple of degrees above normal, but we'll have all that humidity to deal with, so it's really going to make it feel hotter than that, and a shower or two can't be ruled out, but not very likely. Then tomorrow, couple more showers, few extra clouds during the day. Then those storms and the line of heavy rain starts to move in here late then tomorrow night, overnight into Saturday. And we're looking at pockets of heavy rain around the area during the day on Saturday. And Mother's Day is kind of dependent on how worked over the atmosphere gets on Saturday. We'll still have some showers around here, but again, we're looking at the heaviest rain to be on Saturday. Scattered showers, thunderstorms for Mother's Day, even going into the first part of next week. We'll get it all sorted out and take a look at some of the latest computer models, see what those are looking at for who gets the most rain. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, RJ, been pretty quiet all morning. Still the case?
Yeah, well, actually, Mike, things starting to pick up just a little bit more. No major incidents to speak of or crashes, accidents. That's good, but we do have some stalled vehicles to let you guys know about as we take a look outside with our maps here. And this one here, this stalled vehicle, is no longer showing up on TxDOT's website, so it appears as if things have cleared out in that area, just waiting on our maps to kind of update themselves there. So we do have a couple of these stalled vehicles here. This one here on the near northwest side, Loop 410 eastbound lanes at Vance Jackson. This is always a very busy area, so we have a stalled vehicle there affecting the eastbound lanes at Vance Jackson there. So let's go a little bit further south here in the southwest side, and this is the Loop 410, the southbound lanes there at Zarzamora Street. Again, this is around the Palo Alto College area. So again, a stalled vehicle there, southbound lanes, Loop 410 at Zarzamora. And I think just right now TxDOT updated their page, and they showed that there may be a crash out there on the 1604 at I-10. So I'll kind of look exactly what is going on out there on the far northwest side. So things definitely starting to pick up as people kind of make their way out on their Thursday morning. One quick look here at TransGuide traffic cameras. Cycled through a few of these there. 410 at State Highway 151, 35 at Thousand Oaks. Traffic moving along smoothly there, but there are a few things that have started to build up in our area. Mark and Stephanie, back to you.
Thank you, sir. It's taking hours for CPS Energy crews to repair damage done in an instant.
Police have arrested a driver who they say caused it, possibly by driving while intoxicated. So he knocked down power lines and a utility pole on airport property near Isom and Sandow roads.
Katrina Weber is there with the live report. And Katrina, we see a lot of flashing lights behind you there. Are there any street closures due to all of this?
Well, up until a few minutes ago, we did have the street Sandow closed because of all of this work that's being done. But police now are just directing traffic around the area. But take a look, there's a lot going on here. A lot of CPS Energy crews working on those poles. We have a tow truck here trying to get that car that was involved in this crash out of the area where it landed. But let me give you a look at the video so you can see a better look at that car, how it landed upside down. This happened about 2 o'clock this morning. Police say that the driver lost control, rolled over through a concrete fence, excuse me, took out those power lines, and
All right, Katrina, we know you got a frog in your throat or something. We appreciate the update on the situation out there on the city's north or northeast side. Top story this morning, the Biden administration and the U.S.-Mexico border communities preparing for the end of the pandemic-era policy known as Title 42.
It's set to expire at 11:59 p.m. tonight, and our team is on the ground in Eagle Pass right now.
We are tracking the latest this morning with KSAT's team coverage. Let's kick things off with our team on the ground now in Eagle Pass.
Alyssa Cole joins us now live. And Alyssa, federal officials are anticipating a surge of migrants along the border, possibly as many as 10,000 migrants crossing every day.
That's exactly right. Good morning, Mark, Stephanie. That amount is a very large number. We're told that's almost triple of what Custom and Border Protection agents can comfortably handle. We spoke with Congressman Henry Cuellar, who represents a large portion of the southern U.S.-Mexico border, just north of Laredo, all the way south down to Rio Grande City. He tells us the Department of Homeland Security is taking action ahead of Title 42 expiring tonight. Part of the plan is manpower and support. The Biden administration is sending 1,500 troops to the border from the Department of Defense between El Paso and Brownsville. These soldiers will assist agents with data entry, transportation, and other operational needs. It is important to note the soldiers will not detain, stop, or process migrants and asylum seekers. Under federal law, the military cannot carry out civilian law enforcement, which includes immigration enforcement.
They will, they'll carry their rifles, but it's only for defense. They're not going to be Border Patrol. They don't have law enforcement authority.
Leaders along the border are anticipating a big pull on their resources, including towns like Laredo, where the mayor is not expecting a big spike in crossings, but a big spike in migrant transfers to his city.
We will get all the referrals from all the other places to process them here. So Laredo has limited resources. We have 2 NGOs that can hold about 1,500 persons, but we're anticipating many more will come.
Yeah, Mark, Stephanie, now in the effort, this is what we've been told. The Biden administration, they will be enforcing rules that include denying asylum to migrants who choose to cross the border illegally. And of course, if they get captured as well. Now, from what we're understanding is once these rules are enacted, this will create and design better, more safer legal pathways for migrants to pursue asylum in the United States. But stick with us, because coming up in our show, we'll be able to break down what those new rules are and how it will replace Title 42. But for now, reporting in Eagle Pass, Alyssa Cole, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Alyssa is there live. All right, thank you, Alyssa. Jonathan Cotto is also in Eagle Pass. He visited a center that provides migrants with meals, travel options, and translators. They're gearing up for a surge in those seeking asylum. And Jonathan says landowners who live nearby say they are very concerned.
I am concerned. What mostly concerns me is that they're going to come up and turn themselves into my house. And I'm going to have hundreds of people, as I've had before, up to 300 Cubans at one time. And that's what concerns me, that they show up. If they want to run through the ranch and get to the highway and turn themselves up there, I can't control that. But having them show up, 300 strong at your house is very uncomfortable.
Now, Valderrama says the only thing that separates his property from Mexico is a river and a fence.
And our team coverage continues in Del Rio. Our John Paul Barajas is covering the latest there. He saw people already lining up to come into the U.S. The Del Rio Police Chief, Frank Ramirez, says it is all hands on deck. City officials say they have city-owned buildings that can turn into overnight shelters if Del Rio sees too many migrants all at once, but there are concerns.
From apprehension all the way to release, they're looking at about 51 hours. So they're trying to shorten that the best they can, but still 51 hours is still a pretty good amount of time for each person.
Officials say they are preparing for the best and have improved facilities with electricity, plumbing, fencing, and a pavilion for shelter in either rain or shine.
If you still have questions about the end of Title 42 tonight and what it means going forward, we have a complete explainer posted for you online right now at ksat.com. All right, to other news now, and a bombshell in the case of Natalee Holloway, missing since 2005 after traveling to Aruba for a high school graduation trip.
As ABC's Andrea Fuji explains, a longtime suspect in the case is now being extradited to the U.S.
Nearly 2 decades after 18-year-old Natalee Holloway's disappearance in Aruba, the prime suspect in the case is set to face charges in the U.S. as her family awaits justice. Peruvian authorities have now agreed to a temporary extradition of Johan Vandersloot to face prosecution in the U.S. for the alleged commission of the crimes of extortion and fraud, stemming from Holloway's disappearance in 2005.
It's fairly extraordinary for another country to temporarily give up a prisoner to the United States.
Vandersloot, a Dutch national from Aruba, is currently serving a 28-year sentence in Peru for another crime, the murder of Stephanie Flores. Vandersloot, now 35, never faced charges in Holloway's disappearance. Her body was never found, though after months of searching, an Aruban judge declared her dead. In 2006, he spoke to ABC News.
Did you kill Natalee Holloway? No.
Holloway had traveled to Aruba from Alabama on a high school graduation trip. She was last seen leaving a bar with Vandersloot, but never made it home.
I know in my heart that we are going to find Natalee.
I just feel like I have to be out there looking.
U.S. prosecutors say Vandersloot demanded $250,000 from the Holloways in exchange for information that would lead them to her remains. They wired him $25,000. Prosecutors claim he then knowingly took them to an incorrect area where he claimed her remains were located. Now, knowing that Vandersloot will be facing those charges in the U.S., Holloway's mother says it has been a very long and painful journey, but the persistence of many is going to pay off. Together, we are finally getting justice for Natalee. Vandersloot should be in the U.S. in the next couple of days. Under the extradition agreement, he'll eventually be returned to Peru to continue serving his sentence there. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
643, 73 degrees.
Let's look at the roads with TransGuide right now, looking over at Loop 410 in Morrison. Things are moving, but we do see flashing lights, so we'll be checking in with our RJ Marcus very soon.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are live right now on the border as we wait for Title 42 to expire tonight at 11:59. Right now, I am in Eagle Pass. Take a look. This is what we're seeing right now currently at the border. We're here in Eagle Pass, just across from Piedras Negras, Mexico. And what we're seeing on this side of the border, we're here in the park, if you will, and we have DPS there. We're understanding they're part of Operation Lone Star. That's Governor Greg Abbott's initiative to decrease border crime and illegal crossings across the southwest border. So they are here, of course, keeping guard, keeping an eye out. We know Title 42 is expected to expire a little bit later tonight. They're also keeping an eye on these small places like you can see right here, this boat ramp. And we have the officials and security on the Mexican side. They are also driving back and forth as well, keeping a close eye. And you know, right now what we're learning from DPS is that they will be shutting down this particular area, this park that we're in a few moments. National Guard soldiers, also a part of Operation Lone Star, they are on their way also to carry out Operation Lone Star official roles. But for now, reporting in Eagle Pass, Alyssa Cole, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thank you very much, Alyssa, out there covering the developing situation on our border as we take a look outside TransGuide traffic cameras. Before we went to break, we showed you that there was a stalled vehicle out there, Loop 410 and Morrison on the southwest side, but we saw this vehicle over the break kind of clear things out. Emergency crews taking care of business out there, so traffic now moving along pretty smooth in this area. The one crash that we're following right now, kind of the biggest development that we've had here is on the far northwest side. This is out in the eastbound lanes of I-10 at Loop 1604. You can see this is around the Six Flags, the Fiesta Texas area, La Cantera. And over the past couple of minutes, I've seen traffic sort of build up here as people kind of make their way through this already very busy intersection. We know that there's a lot of construction taking place here. So again, keep caution if you're headed out in the far northwest side. The eastbound lanes at Loop 1604. Try and get a little bit more information from TransGuide and TxDOT. See exactly what is going on out there. But this is the only significant crash that we have in our area right now. Mike, how are things looking outside?
Pretty kind of murky out there, but yesterday, of course, clouds weren't completely socked in, so we had a beautiful sunset there at Woodlawn Lake. Another great picture from Mr. McClellan. Thank you very much, with that nice little lighthouse right there in the foreground. And look at this, we can barely even make out any bit of the skyline there. This is the camera from Brooks City Base looking up to the north, so it's not necessarily a lot of thick fog. We have traces of it here and there, bits of it here and there, but it's just all that humidity hanging in the air. And here's what the computer model looks like. So this morning, cloudy skies, maybe a little sprinkle here or there, a little bit of mist or drizzle. That's going to be the situation throughout the day. Can't rule out a shower completely, but the odds of seeing rain are not great. Clouds come back in here tomorrow morning, of course, and then throughout the day, maybe a little sprinkle, some sunshine, but I think we keep more clouds around tomorrow. Then as we go into the evening hours, here comes the heavy rain moving on in here, obviously crossing over the Rio Grande into our western counties by mid-evening, and then that will continue to work its way off to the east with those pockets of some heavy rain all the way in through early Saturday morning, and even more developing in behind it. And we'll have, like I said, some of those heavy downpours that'll be going on through Saturday. And this is only at 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and we still have a lot of very, very heavy rain. Now, here's a different computer model a little bit further into the future. Now, these tend to also kind of paint things in with a broad brush, but what you can take away from it is pretty much the same solution, where we have the heavy pockets of rain around the area throughout the course of the day on Saturday. And even a couple of areas where it's going to be heavier or better chances for some rain. Now, this model does keep a few showers around and some thunderstorms even into early Sunday morning. Others don't have as much rain on Sunday just because the atmosphere may get kind of worked over on Saturday, so that would prevent a lot of the widespread heavier rain, but I think it's still going to be pretty wet on Sunday for Mother's Day also. Now, first of all, 4 to 6 inches of rain. That's still holding true, even heavier pockets than that in places over the course of the next 5 days. And we do have the severe threat tomorrow, as well as on, tomorrow evening, and as well as on Saturday, we do have the severe threat. So not only heavy rain, but also high winds and hail are going to be a chance for that. There's going to be a potential problem with that because the atmosphere is so volatile and then obviously laden with a lot of moisture that's going to get squeezed out. 80, mostly cloudy skies today at noon, and then a high temperature today up to 87, partly cloudy, 1 or 2 showers, just, here or there. And tomorrow, maybe a couple of more showers. Then we get into tomorrow night. Heavy rain moves in, heavy rain during the day on Saturday, and we'll still have some showers, thunderstorms around on Sunday. Then we will still keep rain around here on Monday and Tuesday. Steph, Mark.
6:52, 73 degrees.
Thank you, Mike. Let's look out there with a live cam. Like Mike was saying, it's a humid start to your day. We are bracing for that rain. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Quick look at traffic here on the west side, US 98 Nogalitos. We have a stalled vehicle that's causing a little bit of delays in that area, but traffic's still moving along pretty smooth there, as you can see, as TxDOT tries to clear out that scene there. And our biggest thing that we're following right now is a crash on the far northwest side, the eastbound lanes of 1604 at I-10 in the La Cantera area. Just see some red there. So we're seeing some traffic starting to build up. TxDOT reporting that there are 2 main lanes that are closed right now.
All right, got a couple of spots of little fog out there. Watch out for some mist. We'll keep some of this fog around for the next couple of hours. Very warm 70s, very humid. Dew points in the 70s as well. 87 for a high temperature later on today. A stray shower or 2. And then we're still looking at the heavy rain to move in here tomorrow night, overnight through the day on Saturday.
All right, we'll be watching closely. Yes. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for joining us today.
Have a great day. See you back here tomorrow morning, starting at 4:30.